Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive.
Always up for a good story. What are we digging into today?
Well, this time, we're stepping into the world of O. Henry and one of his most beloved short stories, The Last Leaf.
Oh, The Last Leaf.
Yeah.
The one with the ivy, right? Isn't that the one everyone always says makes them cry?
That's the one. But like all great literature, there's so much more to uncover beneath the surface. We're going to look at why this story continues to resonate with readers over a century later. What is it about O. Henry's tale, set in Greenwich Village in 1907, that still has the power to move us?
Greenwich Village in 1907. Such a specific time and place. That really adds an interesting layer to the story, don't you think?
Absolutely. O. Henry doesn't just tell us a story, he drops us right into the heart of Greenwich Village. Winding streets, defying that rigid city grid, almost like they could lead you back to where you started. Makes you think about the story's ending, doesn't it?
It does. Those winding streets almost become a metaphor for the story itself. The unexpected turns, the way things circle back around. And we have to remember what Greenwich Village represented back then. It was a haven for artists, writers, people living outside the lines. Even in 1907, it was known as a safe space for the LGBT community.
Which adds a whole other dimension to Sue and Johnsey's relationship. O. Henry leaves their bond deliberately ambiguous, but those subtle hints take on a different meaning when you consider the historical context.
For sure. Makes you appreciate the subtle ways O. Henry challenged societal norms, even in what seems like a simple story. And of course, there's the ever-present threat of illness pneumonia, to be exact. No small matter in 1907.
Henry even calls it the cold stranger at one point, with its icy fingers, chilling imagery, and it really emphasizes how serious pneumonia was back then.
Absolutely. This was before antibiotics were widely available. Catching pneumonia, especially in the colder months, was a terrifying prospect. Treatment was basically limited to rest and, hoping for the best.
So right from the start, we have this very real fear surrounding Johnsey's illness. But what really struck me is how much the story focuses on her fading hope, which is almost more heartbreaking than the physical illness itself.
It is. And, I think that's one of the most powerful elements of The Last Leaf. It reminds us that our mental state, our will to live, can be just as important as any medicine. It's that choice we make, even in the face of adversity, to hold on to hope or surrender to despair. It really makes you consider those choices, doesn't it? Especially when we think about the characters themselves.
Oh, absolutely. We have Sue and Johnsey, these two young artists, barely scraping by in their little Greenwich Village apartment. And their bond, wow, it just leaps off the page,
It does. And their dynamic is especially interesting given the time period, right?
Yeah.
O. Henry dances around their exact relationship, but you get these little hints, these moments of tenderness, the way Sue cares for Johnsey, that kind of go beyond just typical roommate stuff.
Yeah. And there's that very telling line from the doctor. He asks Sue, is there anyone a man for whom she is likely to care a great deal? It's like the thought of Johnsey finding the will to live through something other than a man. It's just unfathomable to him.
It's almost comical, right? And Sue's response is interesting, too. It's not a straight no. She says, a man. Is a man worth no, doctor? Like the whole idea is absurd to her. Which, again, O. Henry leaves it open to our interpretation, and that ambiguity really adds to the story's depth.
Right. It makes you wonder if O. Henry was subtly pushing back against those rigid societal expectations about relationships, even back then.
Definitely something to think about. And then we have Behrman, that aging artist, so full of unrealized potential, drowning his sorrows and maybe a bit of regret in a bottle.
Yeah, at first glance, he's almost a tragic figure, isn't he? Part of you just wants to shake him and be like, dude, you have talent. You could create something amazing.
But at the same time, I think there's a bit of Behrman in all of us. We've all had those moments where we struggle to live up to our full potential, right?
Yeah, for sure. We all know that feeling. But then something shifts in him. Triggered by Johnsey's illness and that stubborn little ivy vine clinging to life outside their window.
And that's where those falling leaves become more than just a scenic detail, right? They become this powerful symbol of Johnsey's dwindling hope. Each leaf that falls mirroring her own sense that her time is running out.
It's like she's literally watching her life slip away with every leaf. Just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But it also reminds us of the power our thoughts have over our well-being. That connection between our internal and external worlds.
Absolutely. And that connection is even stronger when you think about the contrast between those dying leaves and Johnsey's dream of painting the Bay of Naples, all that vibrant life and color. It's like she's yearning for warmth and beauty while being surrounded by the cold reality of her illness.
And that's what makes Berman's final act so incredibly powerful, right? He goes out and creates a last leaf, defying nature itself to offer Johnsey a glimmer of hope. That image of that single leaf, clinging to the vine, it's just stuck with me ever since I first read the story.
It's such a powerful image of hope, isn't it? And for Johnsey, it becomes this turning point, like a sign that maybe, just maybe, she's not done living yet.
Right. And it completely changes her outlook. But the way O. Henry tells the story, it makes you think about Berman, doesn't it? So here's this guy, kind of an outcast, underestimated his whole life. And in this moment of crisis, he digs deep and creates something truly meaningful.
Absolutely. And there's that interesting detail about when he actually paints the leaf. We assume it happens during that second storm, right?
Yeah.
Because that's when he gets sick.
Yeah, that's what I always assumed.
But O. Henry never explicitly states that. It's left open to interpretation. Maybe, just maybe, Berman painted it that first night, knowing he might not survive the storm himself.
Wow, I never thought of it like that. It adds a whole other layer to his sacrifice, doesn't it? Knowing he might be facing the same fate as Johnsey.
It really does. It suggests that the most selfless acts, the ones with the most lasting impact, often happen quietly, behind the scenes.
And in a way, that last leaf becomes Berman's legacy, right? This testament not only to his talent as an artist, but to his huge heart. Johnsey survives, inspired by that symbol of resilience, and Berman, even though he doesn't make it, achieves a different kind of immortality through his art.
It's a powerful message about the unexpected ways we can find meaning and purpose. Berman might not have achieved fame or recognition in the traditional sense, but he found something far more profound, the ability to use his art to heal, to inspire.
It makes you think about what truly matters. Maybe it's not about grand achievements or accolades, but those small acts of love, those moments of courage and sacrifice that ripple outward, impacting the lives of others.
Absolutely. And those are the things that stick with us long after the story ends.
The last leaf reminds us that even when things seem bleak, even when hope feels lost, a single act of kindness, a spark of creativity, can make all the difference in the world. It's a story that stays with you, that makes you look for the last leaf moments in your own life. So as we wrap up this deep dive, think about that. How can you be the last leaf for someone else? What small but mighty act of creation or love or defiance can you offer to the world today? It just might be the very thing someone needs to find their way back to hope. Thanks for exploring this powerful story with us. And until next time, remember to keep those conversations going. Keep thinking, keep questioning, and keep searching for those deeper meanings.